Welcome, welcome, welcome to another round of Imminent Peril, the creatively chaotic role-playing party game. In this game, we will be thrown into a deadly situation, attempting to survive, jumping from peril to peril, using special abilities to explain how we hope to make it. Most of all, this game is about telling a fun story together, creating awesome memories, and creating unique challenges for each other and trying to solve them that you could never possibly get in another game. I am Aaron Lanowitz, creator of Imminent Peril.
I'm Chris, not the creator.
I'm Nick Sparkman. I am a video content creator.
I'm Zach, the only one in the shirt.
So some involvement in some way then. And I'm Ben. I make videos and play video games, and I'm excited to play some Imminent Peril.
So our story is going to begin in a random hazardous location populated by a random quirky menace. So to create this scenario, I'm going to flip 4 random cards. So we are starting in a stupidly cute amusement park inhabited by animatronic bullies. So these are just some starting elements. It's our job now to tie these things together into a more cohesive story. So what else would we like to say about this stupidly cute amusement park full of animatronic bullies? Like,
It all fits together so well.
Yeah.
already.
And the cohesion is incredible.
Crazy odds on that one, yeah.
Are the are the bullies like a faction? Are they like are they like the enforcers of the underground animatronic dwelling?
that.
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
we're opposed to the other side of the park's animatronics. Like there's
Right.
these
Like there's some
group
kind of
that
civil
like the
war
other group.
going on.
And the
I like
park
that.
goers are just caught in the middle of it, yeah.
yeah.
The
So that's
Gummy
definitely
Bear
true.
Club off to the left basically
Yeah.
set up like greasers, a gang of greasers that are.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I was
Yep.
picturing
I
that
I went
too.
straight
Like,
outsiders too.
they're snapping their fingers and they're doing coordinated dances at us. Okay.
Maybe it's since it's got the stupidly cute element, maybe the park just revamped their animatronics. So this is like the bullies are the old ones that got replaced, and now they're
Yeah.
pissed.
They
I
Yeah,
really
they
like
get
that.
pushed out.
Yeah.
So wait, that makes them sympathetic. Are there gonna be?
It is what it is.
Are there gonna be like? Are the stupidly cute ones? Are they like on our side, or are they just wandering around and being bullied?
Let's take the stupid part literally. Like they might look better, but maybe the programming's worse.
Okay.
You know? So it's like they're really cute, but they're not quite as good as the old tech, and the old tech knows it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing
Yeah.
like the old machines.
So they're like way smarter, better, just more effective. And then like the new, nobody really wanted the upgraded versions, but here they are.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like stupidly cute amusement park. Do we have like some kind of skin theme, like or what animal based, cartoon based? Like what? Help me picture this.
Is it? Okay. I don't want to say mine because it's bad.
Okay.
I'm imagining like, I mean, obviously, when we talk about animatronics, I go straight to like Five Nights at Freddy's, but I'm thinking more like one of the worlds from Wreck-It Ralph. If you guys have seen that,
I like
It's
that.
like the
Yeah.
princess world or whatever, like that kind of stupidly cute,
Okay.
Did you say which world?
He said
The candy
Princess
one?
World, so
like the Candy
Princess
World.
World.
so yeah, like so everything is very like candy princess themed. So we all have kind of a better idea of what the general world looks like, but now we have to add ourselves as characters that have been here all along. So for example, I will be a mechanic trying to track down where one of the latest old animatronics scooted off to again. Got out of their containment units.
I'm a janitor cleaning up child mess from the go-kart track.
Child mess. I don't know. I don't know actually. Um, I'm a tech bro who's pitching new AI for the new cutesy, and I'm wandering around with a tablet and I'm trying to figure out why they're so dumb, and I'm like,
Okay.
I'm gonna be I'm like a 40-year-old guy who never quite grew up and is so furious about the new animatronics because all I'm really hanging on to left these days is my memories of this park before with the cooler, more grizzled animatronics that have been replaced.
Right. I think I'm gonna be like just like a park manager who's in charge of like bringing people in and like freaking out about the discourse that's happening between these animatronics and like like just wanting to keep the peace so that everybody has a good time. You know,
I
I
like
don't
it.
know. Sounds like fun.
Trying
I
to
imagine it's a
cool
PR
tensions.
nightmare.
Oh
Like
yeah. Oh yeah.
kids running around, animatronics throwing fists.
All right, perfect. So we've established the world, we've put ourselves into it. I will deal out our abilities for the game. So we're playing points. Usually this goes for 3 rounds, and at the end of 3 rounds, whoever has the least votes total wins. Every round, we're going to be voting for who we personally think is least likely to survive. More on mechanics later. But since we're doing 3 rounds, I'm going to deal us 4 ability cards. When you use these, they're getting burned. So your hand is shrinking as the game progresses. But before we get too deeply into the ability cards, the first step of every round is to put each other into peril. So everybody has a target card and it points to another player. Your job is to take whatever the player said they were doing last and extend their story further. You're going to describe how they're suddenly finding themselves in new, immediately life-threatening danger. Whatever their last goals or whatever they were last doing, we move forward a little bit in time and suddenly something's about to kill them. So we are acting as narrators. Anything could happen, but it's usually a little cleaner if you like make use of the world that we've established so far. There are some major rules to this game that are universal. Fun first, so if everybody's cool with something, it can happen. Number 2 is free will. So only you can decide what your character says, thinks, feels, or how they react. When other players are putting you into peril or vice versa, you can take what they said they were doing and you can walk them a little bit into danger, but you don't want to take too much creative control over that other player's character. That's the whole part of the game for them. You're just kind of setting up the environment and their circumstances to be fatal. So normally, we all have a chance to silently think about what we're going to do for our target. But for the first round, since this is the first time some folks are playing, I'll give an example. My target is Ben. Well, let's do a quick recap. So everybody, now that you know who your target is, focus on what your target said they're doing last during this recap. I am a mechanic trailing behind one of the old school replaced robots.
And I'm a tech bro, and I'm debugging the new robots on my tablet, trying to figure out why they're so dumb.
I am the park manager who's in charge of keeping peace between customers and animatronics and everything going on.
Am a very professional janitor who is cleaning up the leavings of children on the go-kart track.
And I am a disgruntled 40-year-old who misses the good old days when this park was better, and I'm just kind of trying to raise awareness about the poor replaced animatronics.
All right. So with that in mind, my target is Ben. Ben, you're trying to keep the park nice and clean, but you end up accidentally like sweeping straight into the middle of one of those dance-off brawls. So you look around, sure enough, they're snapping their fingers. The new ones with their dumb faces are like trying to figure out how to coordinate their dance back at them. But sandwiched right in the middle, like the stupid ones give up and they just start uncouthly charging at the older models. So we'll say a stampede
Yes.
of robots is your is your peril.
Great.
So that being said, the 4 of you guys, once you know what your target's peril will be, go ahead and flip your card over. And then once everybody's had a chance to think about it, and once everybody's ready, we'll go in order.
My target is Aaron. Aaron is a mechanic, and you said you were working on one of the old models, one of the bullies.
Yeah.
The bully. I'll keep it simple. The bully is waking up, and this is like he's deciding, you're part of the problem, and so this bully that is gonna try to attack you.
And then my target is Chris, and Chris is a tech bro following around trying to find the new ones. All of the older animatronics have decided that he is their enemy because he's working on them and not the older ones to upgrade them. So they're gonna try to physically intimidate him into upgrading them as well.
Yeah.
Can you make it a little bit more imminently life-threatening. Like if he
Midnight.
doesn't do something, his life will come to an unfortunate end.
Let's see. Maybe he maybe he wakes up strapped down to a roller coaster.
What?
Like Old West style, he's strapped to the roller coaster. One's got his hand on the start button. The rails are, the cart is like stationed on top of the hill, and they're like, you're either going to upgrade us or we're just going to let this go.
Okay,
Okay.
I like
great.
that.
Yeah,
Cool.
0 to 60.
Literally.
That's good.
Right. My target is Nicholas. So, Nicholas, you're hanging out, I'm assuming, toward the front of the park, trying to work out a customer dispute, right? I'm assuming, since you're the guy that handles, disgruntled people. So, also near the front of the park, there happens to be, all the food waste disposal. A couple of the little gummy bear street toughs are pushing a candy grinder around. They've lost control, and it's heading your way.
All right. Imminent candy grinding.
Candy
Death by
grinder.
candy grinder. Okay.
All right, and then I have Zach, who is cleaning up the tracks over by the go karts. And in my head, old versus new, right? There's only one way to determine which animatronics are the best, and that's to have a good old fashioned go kart race. So the animatronics hop into their go karts and they're off, and everyone's cheering. But fueled by their hatred of the new models, the old animatronics don't play fair, right? They play dirty, and he goes for like a pit maneuver on the new animatronics go kart, sending him into a fiery barreling crash roll right towards Zach, the janitor, who had headphones in, so he doesn't know it's coming. He's just cleaning up after the kids. And a fiery go kart explosion is barreling towards you.
Grumble, grumble, can't hold their cotton candy.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So we're all in peril. Next, we're going to pick an ability card, and you're going to use it to help describe how you are attempting to survive your immediately life-threatening situation. But once you know which ability you use, you can put it face down in front of your character. There are some rules with regards to using abilities. One is the elephant rule. So this is to help keep each other's powers kind of in balance with each other. When using an ability card specifically, you can only affect up to an elephant's amount of stuff. So nobody should be trying to summon the moon to crash into the earth or trying to waterbend the entire ocean. It's just kind of like keeping us in the same power spectrum. Next rule is you done messed up. So any changes that an ability causes to your character are permanent. So if you use an ability that changes you into a badger, now you're a badger for the rest of the game until another ability changes it or something else happens to you. So when you finish your description of what you're doing with your ability, make sure that you're happy in the state that you've left your character, because that is how you will be from that point forward. Rule 3, keep it fresh. An ability can only make new things happen when it's played. So otherwise, think about it being on cooldown. If you play a card that makes you a vampire, you're technically a vampire for the rest of the game, but you can't actively use like a new vampiric ability on a new round to save you. It's like, we get it, you're a vampire, but now do something different to survive. Like, keep it fresh. Then finally, wild card. If you're ever unhappy with any of your options, like if you don't like what you've got in front of you for abilities, you can choose any one of them to discard, and then you draw a new ability, but then you have to immediately play whatever it is you drew. And let me know if you have any questions.
Can I like alter the world with my description of what I'm doing to like add new details? I mean,
Yeah. So throughout the game, you can add new details as long as it doesn't contradict anything that's been established so far. We are free to constantly expand what we think of as our world. So I was about to be attacked by the old school model I was working on, trying to fix it up, get it back to a containment, and it wasn't happy about that. Luckily, I have prehensile hair. I have an impractical amount of an incredibly strong hair that can be controlled like an appendage. So I've got its hatch open, and it starts to turn on me. And I'm like, "Oh no, you don't!" And my poofy, curly, tangled mess of like engineer hair suddenly shoots outwards and spreads into the hatch and all through the gears and jams up the gears to keep it from moving and being able to pull any robot maneuvers on me. All right, Chris.
So I was tied down to the roller coaster track,
Yeah.
and the bullies were threatening me to upgrade them. Uh, and they were going to release the roller coaster cart to crush me. And as we all know, or maybe you don't know, even before the bullies, this park was a carnival. And there was a world famous escape artist that worked here, and he was my grandfather. And I see him in this moment, and I use my power of Spirit Whisperer to communicate with him. And he teaches me, and I say, "How do I get out of this?" And he helps me. He says, "I'm gonna save you, boy," and he helps me undo the ropes to get out off the track.
Nice.
Wow, love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. I don't know if I'm going to kind of piggyback on that. I don't know if you guys know, but when you're a park manager at this specific park, you get a one-to-one mental link to the stupidly cute gods, right? So basically I just like channel them for a minute and I'm like, hey, this is really bad and it's not going to look good for the PR of this car. Like if I die and if these customers die through this candy grinder, say goodbye to your profits. And they go, oh, and they just shut it down. And then we, start cleaning it up.
All right.
Divine intervention. I love
Divine intervention.
All right. So, me, Mr. Unaware of my surroundings, janitor Zach, complaining about all the kid mess, decide I'm over it. I don't want to clean this. So I summon over up to 10 allied creatures and no larger than a horse to aid you. I'm going to pull over the hungry horses. They're going to clean up these leavings for me, conveniently forming a barrier behind me between myself and this flaming go-kart.
Those poor horses.
It's fine.
At least they weren't hippos.
Yeah. Yeah, for copyright reasons, we had to.
Right.
Yeah.
Hungry Hippos has been done before, so.
Yeah.
Technically, it's
That's great.
the AI aspect, the technology. It's still a startup. You got to work with what you can. You don't want to fight that battle. Not against Big
All right.
Hippo.
That makes me think. Me
Yeah.
think everything now in this park is like knockoff.
Yeah,
Nothing saying it's
exactly.
not.
All the mascots are like eerily recognizable, but uncanny because they're not quite the copyrighted versions of themselves.
Perfect.
That's
They're
awesome.
not-
The Wish version of the Princess World.
All right, so there's a reason that I'm here at this park campaigning for the older animatronics. They made a profound impact on me as a kid, and it just so happens that when I used to attend the park regularly, I made a BFF. So I have the ability to summon or enchant a creature to be your best friend forever. They will do absolutely anything for you. So as I'm in the middle of this dance brawl that's breaking out between the new and old animatronics, my best friend, Biker Barry, who was a very popular animatronic from back in the park's heyday, recognizes me in the scuffle and comes over and forms a protective shield around me with his metal body. And he kind of pulls me through and out of the carnage. And we share a cold metallic embrace after years of not seeing each other. And he's like falling apart, because I haven't seen him since I was a kid. His like eyes like droopy. He's like smiling, but his teeth panels are knocked out. And I'm like, Barry!
That's awesome.
Nice.
Sometimes it's the interactions and not the aesthetics that make it adorable.
Right.
Yeah, you don't need
It's just a
teeth to be
wholesome
adorable.
park.
Yeah. Biker Barry at a child's park. It's okay. Maybe there was a reason they updated the animatronics. I don't know.
So the next phase is going to be the vote. In preparation for voting, we're going to go around and just do a quick recap of how we were trying to survive our peril so that we can kind of refresh everybody's memories for the sake of voting. Using my prehensile hair, I shoved a whole bunch of it and spread it throughout the inner workings of the old school sesame eagle that was attempting to attack me and jammed up the gears.
That's Sesame Road. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Yep.
I'm tied down to a roller coaster track, being threatened by a rolling cart. and I whispered to the spirit of my long dead grandfather, escape artist, to help me get out of the bindings.
I channeled the gods of the park through my one-to-one link with them as the park manager to shut down the candy grinder before it could do damage.
I summoned a pack of hungry horses to clean up the mess, inadvertently creating a barrier between myself and the go-kart.
And I had my BFF Barry scoop me up and protect me from the dance brawl that was happening.
All right. So you're going to vote for who you think is least likely to survive. You don't have to justify your votes. There won't be any discussion. We just drop the votes, and something happens to whoever has the most, and then the game keeps rolling. All right. So 3, 2, 1, drop them, and go ahead and put it on the card of the person that you'd vote for. 2 for Zach.
Oh.
All right. So
Oof.
what happens, Zach? You have to describe how you were, some part of your plan went wrong and you got injured or hobbled, and that's going to affect your character going into the next round.
Well, it was a lot like dominoes. The go-kart hit one horse, knocked over the next, and it just kind of continued. So I'm under one of them. Broke my leg,
Oh,
my right
Oh,
leg
gosh.
specifically, because I don't like that one.
all
Lucky
right.
you. No.
Are you still pinned
No,
under
I
the
am
horse
one
with the
with.
broken leg?
Yes, I am one with the child leavings.
That's even worse. Got
All
knocked
right.
into the mess you were cleaning.
The remains of the child incident.
Gosh.
So each round the targets shift, so you're always putting somebody else into imminent peril. So take a look at your target. If anybody needs a reminder as to what their target was doing last, feel free to ask. But your job, just like before, is to describe how whatever happened to them previously is now leading them into new imminent peril. Every round, the player to go first also shifts, so it's not the same person going first every round. Chris, you're up first.
Okay, my target is Ben. Correct me if I'm wrong, but your BFF, one of the old bullies, protected you from the onslaught. But he, alas, did not survive himself.
Barry, no.
And to protect the park's intellectual property, you hear a self-destruct counter start ticking down,
I love it.
and that's it.
Yep,
Okay.
that's good.
Man,
Viking funeral for Barry.
what a show to follow up. Oh no. So Aaron, you have just done whatever you've done to this thing in front of you with your hair, and it's you're like working on getting it out, but you've been distracted for quite a while at this point. Behind you, there's now a group of this animatronics friends, and each are holding a menacing object from baseball bat to candy cane, and they're just like waiting, and they now see that your hair is a weapon.
Feel free to make the danger a bit more like it's on top of me. Like if I don't do something in seconds, I'm going to die.
Okay, so like imminent. Okay.
Yeah, like give me less time to get myself out of the situation.
Okay. All right. So then, in the midst of you trying to pull out your hair, you feel a sticky cane wrap around your neck, and it pulls your attention to these other animatronics that are about to start beating you with baseball bats and candy canes and
Love it.
I hate that you said sticky.
chainsaws.
That would have been so much better if just like candy
Well,
cane,
he gave me hair, and I'm like, what is the enemy of hair?
Sure,
Sticky
that's a
things
great
of
detail
hair.
then, yeah. Just like, why is it sticky?
Child leavings.
Okay. Chris, you have successfully escaped the track of this roller coaster of doom and fallen right into the lake, the slushy lake that happens to be filled with, well, piranhas. Cute, but still piranhas.
Not even gonna wonder why. They just like relic from a previous park attraction, or just
I didn't think
someone
that
left
far
one in there
ahead.
and they multiplied. No, it's okay. I'm so curious.
They're endangered. The park wasn't allowed to get rid of them.
Yeah, it's built around the.
More risk mitigation. Thank you.
Yeah. That's great.
It's amazing.
We gotta keep
Yeah.
these piranhas in this kid's park. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Endangered species. It all makes sense. That's how they got the land so cheaply.
And I have Nicholas here. So, as the park manager, we've already seen you have a connection to higher beings, and this park's purpose truly is one that we can't understand in its entirety. The animatronics weren't the only thing to get an upgrade. Actually, you had to undergo a pretty rigorous surgery as the park manager, and they've fixed this device to your heart that is directly correlated to the park's ratings. So one angry Yelp review after another from the now disgruntled park goers is slowly starting to decrease your heart rate. And because of the unsatisfied, angry families that are watching the chaos and the brawls ensue, it's just getting lower and lower and lower to the point where you're about to die because you're failing as the park manager. So, should have read that contract, I guess,
Shoulda.
when you took the position.
Amazing. All right, and Zach, you're pinned with a broken leg underneath your hungry horses. Uh, and unfortunately, right outside of the bumper car arena, it's another one of those dang dance battle offs, and one of the old school robots is like an elephant, kind of like super like raggedy trunk, but right in the middle of like a sweet dance move, it goes "Rah! Rah!" and the crazy loud noise startles all the horses who are still on their side, but they attempt to like all run away at the same time. So it turns into like a horse driven kind of thresher situation across the floor of the bumper cars.
All
So
right.
a
Yeah.
whole bunch of wildly kicking horse legs.
All right.
All right. So once you know which ability you would use, and also remember at any time if you want to grab a wild card because you don't like your options, feel free. I might do that.
Wild card coming out for Aaron.
Yeah. So
How
I
does the
started
wild
doing
card
this.
work? Do you have to flip it the moment that you try to avoid peril?
So that's the way my wife and I have been playing. Like she started it. She was like, "No, I don't even want to look at it. I'm just gonna flip it when it comes when my turn comes." So that's what I've been doing now too, because it's a pretty great um, improv challenge.
Okay.
But it's not part of the rules. So normally, like as soon as you draw the replacement card, you can look at it and you can like hold on to it like normal until you know what you would do and then put it face down. And in this game, if you wanted to do that, you can drag your new card into your hand and it would flip it over where nobody can see it still. And we'll
Yeah, it just gives you
trust.
that opportunity to like. Not everyone wants to be like under the gun like that, so you can still see what the ability is, but now you have to figure it out with what you have, and it's led to some hilarious rounds in previous games for sure.
There's a whole version of this game that like you don't have hands of cards. It's all wild card. And that's the challenge of that game. All right, Chris.
Okay. All right. Now, to defend myself, I'm trying to use my worst cards first. So I'm falling into the lake made of sweet something sugar
Smoothies. Yep.
smoothie, the
Slushy.
smoothie lake, the slushy lake, and the piranhas. I've caught their attention and they're coming after me. So I swing my arms out and I grab some grasses and like
Mhm.
the bumper off the discarded bumper off a bumper car, and I fashion using my master of disguise ability. I make myself into a turtle. And I'm literally the master of disguise. So
Nice.
the piranhas, they know not to bother trying to bite the turtle because the shell's too hard.
You like a deduce.
I thought if I did that, at least Zach wouldn't vote for me.
It's very generous.
That's funny.
All right. So, as part of my own preparation, because I've known that this war was going on between the animatronics and stuff, I fashioned myself a little sci-fi flare gun. And what it does is when I shoot it up in the air, there are these fireworks that spark. It gets everybody's attention. And part of that system is that the fireworks actually, like, through their light patterns, make people happier and more likely to not review the park badly. And even if they have, they're more willing to go and edit it and say, oh, you know, it was just a mistake. It'll be okay. Right? And like, luckily, all of these things have been happening, like, as people are writing their negative reviews. So they see the fireworks and suddenly they're good.
Classic Disney
Well
move.
played. Yep.
All right, so there's an elephant with sick moves nearby. The horses are panicking, but it turns out I have the abilities of a druid. I'm connected with the natural world around me, allowing me to merge with or reach out to it for aid. So I'm obviously going to merge with one of the horses because I want to be a centaur. That just sounds really cool. And I need to get out of here. I'm panicking a bit too. This broken leg is just not my style.
Sure, you get 4 new legs. That's good.
So I'm just mosey on over to the merry-go-round. Gonna join a carousel.
Excellent.
Oh gosh, that means me. I have to remember what I played. Oh, okay. All right. So, Biker Barry had an unfortunate passing, and I didn't even have an opportunity to mourn their death before I hear self-destructing in 3, 2, and you know, I have some abilities that are good, but I also am just a really lucky guy. You know, I've always considered myself to have just great luck, and so using my ability to manipulate my own luck, I can bend it in my favor, and rather than, you know, try to prevent this Viking funeral, this explosive end to Barry's story, I'm just going to stand in place and trust that the shrapnel will be influenced in such a way that it will just go around me and miss me entirely. And maybe it'll even take out some of those new animatronics that I hate so much, you know, just maybe. But yep, I'm just gonna stand there and let it happen.
Right. Well, let's see if I can top that. So I got sticky candy caned, and I'm about to be bludgeoned to death with some old school bots. Luckily, I can knock out anything, even intangible things like concepts and color. So the sticky candy cane wraps around my neck. And realizing that this is about to gum up my hair, which is like the bread and butter of my artifice. Uh, I put my palms together and I go, "Ah," and I punch the ground and I knock out all the friction around me within a certain, let's say, an elephant diameter. So the candy cane just slips right off my head. All the robots that in mid swing, they just comedically, like as if on ice, all slip and swoop and fall over, and I am
Is all
unhurt
your hair
by their
unstuck
attacks.
now too?
Yeah, yeah. It slides effortlessly out of the jammed up gears of the robot, and it's like luxurious locks as I just
So
like
just to clarify, you've knocked out friction. That's what,
yeah,
not like the robots, but the
just
concept of
friction.
friction.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In this
I love it.
elephantine circle, there is no friction.
Oh my. Does the earth still spin?
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's just this little circle, right? Like, I'm not trying to kill us
Sure.
all. Yeah.
Been there.
All right, so we'll do a quick recap before the vote. Chris?
Fell into the smoothie lake, being attacked by piranhas, but I made myself into a turtle, which they don't want to attack.
I took my emergency Men in Black style flare gun and shot it up into the air to make people happier about their experience.
Nice.
I became a centaur. I melded with one of the hungry horses, and now we're gonna go munch on the carousel.
I manipulated my luck to avoid the shrapnel of my former BFF Barry.
And I knocked out friction in an elephantine diameter around me. When you know who you'd vote for, grab a token. So 3, 2, 1, drop them.
Oh,
Saved by one.
yeah, yep.
So Ben,
Man,
what went mildly wrong?
you know, you can't skirt your way through life and come out unscathed. So unfortunately, as lucky as I feel, I just had the crazy idea to stand next to an explosion and assume it would work out. And pieces of my former friend Barry are shooting at me, and so I'm all cut up. And the worst injury of them all is my left eye is just completely it's a mess. So I'm partially blinded, I'm bleeding, and Yeah. Now I kind of have pieces of Barry with me though, so I'm kind of into that. You know, it's like a piece of him lives on in me, literally. So
Thought you were gonna
Nice.
say the worst of it was your broken heart.
yeah, there you go. None of the physical pain can
No,
amount to
no,
the
no.
emotional pain and trauma from
Yeah.
recent events.
Childhood.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Childhood friend.
You'll
BFF.
never
Yep.
God.
you'll never bury that misery.
Whoa.
All right. So when you know how your target story will continue, flip your card over. All right. Nicholas, you're up first.
Boy.
All right then. So you've kind of recovered, but you're missing an eye, and because of that, your hearing has gotten just a little bit better, slightly. Right, and what you start to hear is that I guess Barry was very influential within, the community of the old animatronics, and when he perished, they decided that they were going to perish too. So now, within an elephant's diameter of Barry, you hear another self-destruct call, but not
Oh.
from one area, from multiple.
Great. Love it. This time maybe I won't stand in place and hope things work out.
I hope you learned your.
Yeah.
Believe it or
That's
not,
awesome.
the beeps are making a really cool tune though. You're jamming.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I
FYI,
was
when putting people into peril, there's no limits to like distance or scale or anything. So you could have
Okay.
like,
And thanks for that again, Aaron.
yeah, I mean, if you wanted to like go beyond an
I
elephant's worth
I
of,
was I was thinking about making it like park wide,
you could.
Mhm.
but that seemed like overkill, and
Barry's
that makes
like the ringleader.
he was the leader, and you
Yep.
just discarded their leader. They have no purpose now. But then I was like, but how does that affect my character?
Mm.
That's fair. That's fair. So keep it a little
Yeah.
contained.
Yeah.
Just those there to actually see him go down, we'll say. That makes sense.
Right.
right. So, Aaron, when you removed the friction from the ground, you also removed it from the air. And I'm assuming that it's an elephant's mass worth of space that you
Yeah.
affected. So, yeah, birds have lost their ability to fly. You got pretty, I don't know how to describe it, but other than panicked, pterodactyl falling your way. What's a candy pterodactyl? It's gotta fit. It's gotta be adorably cute. I know it's a pterodactyl.
Like, does it have a banana beak? Is it made out of like runts?
Yes. And
So this is a pterodactyl animatronic that happened to fly by when the friction was removed.
Messed with its flight sensors and whatnot.
There's no
Or
friction in the
candy.
air. What's it gonna lift
Yeah,
itself with? It can't push off
that's
something that can't
fair.
push back.
That's fair. Aerodynamics.
It took a lot of twists for me to come up with this. I'm not gonna pretend it's good, but I am
I'm not
enjoying
gonna.
it.
I'm not trying to dissect. I think this is a great peril of Aaron getting skewered and crushed by the. But I am now just curious in a scenario where there was somehow no friction. If something huge fell on something small, but there's no friction, if there would still be like crushing? Probably. I don't know. Anyway, that's something for me to figure out later when I'm like in the shower or something, I guess.
Or like
Just,
they
thinking at night,
immediately
like,
they immediately start squeezing out the side at like incredible
right, maybe it
velocity.
shoots you off at like super speed. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Sorry. That's me too. Okay. All right, Chris. You have evaded the piranhas. You've made this awesome turtle disguise in the slushy pond. Unfortunately, as these are a protected species, as we've discussed, the park had to build in fail safes to meet the like environmental standards, so that if anything was thrown into the water or if a new life form was detected, it would set off these sensors, and so you hear underwater this muffled and all of a sudden all the piranhas like as a school swim off into this like vent and leave the enclosure, and you realize that there's a whirlpool forming below you and that the tank is being emptied of the water because something has contaminated the piranha's enclosure, and so you are now going to be still trying to hold your breath and not drown, being sucked out with the slushy pond of the drain. Yep, at high speeds, and it's a long ways to the nearest outlet, so you won't be able to breathe.
Okay, got it.
Park's water bill is enormous. Or slushy bill.
These
Slushy
damn
bill.
piranhas
There
are. Yeah.
you go.
All right, Nicholas, you just
Mhm.
shot the rating savings fireworks into the sky. dazzling
Yeah.
all of the would-be park goers. But you hear a scream of rage behind you, royal rage. And so you turn around, and there's one of the new animatronics is a pink dressed, decked out princess, and she's like, you dare shoot the royal okay, wait, I got this. Dare shoot the royal fireworks without me? That's my job! My job! And she pulls out this big canister labeled royal fireworks. And she points that at you, and she pulls this comical like string with a little circle on it, and the royal fireworks are now being blasted at you since you took her spotlight.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, Zach. So you are a centaur, graceful as you are. Honestly, the most gorgeous centaur anyone's ever seen. And as you approach the carousel, what you didn't realize is that it's a fantasy themed carousel, and there's a centaur on that carousel, and it's animatronic. And no one has an ego like a centaur. And he sees you coming, and he says, "You seek to replace me, Churl." And he pulls his stick that is connecting him to the carousel out and wields it as a spear. And he's gonna fight you for his honor as the greatest centaur.
That's amazing.
Amazing. I love it.
I
All
just want to
right.
know what the onlookers are doing right now. Are they just like, is this part of the show?
All right. When you know how you might hypothetically survive, drop a card. Let's see. And this is the final round. All right, Nicholas, you're up first.
All right. So what we end up doing is we end up reducing, which is shrinking the amount of this girl 1,000 times less than her weight. So as she's like firing these fireworks at me, she just starts to shrink down to the ground. And I just like pick her up and I put her in my hand and I'm like, oh. And I start showing her to the customers. I'm like, isn't she so cute? Look at that. It's like a sparkler. And it brings them joy, which brings my ratings up.
I feel like you'd actually
That's
be a pretty
amazing.
good overviewer manager of this theme
Just
park.
like minimize the problem. Just minimize. Just reduce.
It's not as bad as they think it is. It's fine.
No. As long as we're not reducing the employees. You know what I mean? Like ethics.
No. Don't reduce satisfaction. Employees can go.
Right. The customer's always right unless they're firing fireworks at me.
All right. So I am just apparently entering combat with a fellow centaur. You thought we'd have been friends, but combat time. So I'm using my power of bone manipulation. I can grow new bones and structures instantly on or out of your body. So I'm gonna grow myself a bone quarterstaff, and we're gonna do combat. This is happening. You wouldn't think a centaur would be very good at it, but that guy is, and I'm a janitor. I mean, I know a mop, I know a broom. It's not that different.
Love that. I also love that if you'd had this ability all along and you had a broken leg, you could have just like fixed your broken leg and then been fine, but it's okay.
Instead,
Mhm.
he upgraded. Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt too easy.
Yeah, it showed you the weakness of your own, and that's why you were like, nope, horse time. I gotcha.
I said nay.
Yeah.
Ayo.
All right, so I am surrounded by the old school animatronics, and their fallen leader has basically sent them all into their self-destruct mode. And as they're counting down, I use my ability of recycle. I've recovered something previously lost or discarded in the current scenario. And of course, the people running this park, after making the upgrade to the animatronics, thought, we have no need for this useless handbook for these old animatronics anymore. I'm just going to toss that over here. And using my ability, I found the discarded handbook, flipped to the self-destruct page, and I've realized that there is a secret phrase which can be said, which will deactivate the self-destruct mode of the animatronics. And they made it the one thing that they know they would never utter out loud to their park goers, which was free admission, because they got to keep the money rolling in. So I scream free admission, which is the secret catchphrase, and all the old animatronics kind of like snap back out of it, and I dodge their explosions.
Beautiful.
Good choice
Love
of
it.
phrase.
That's great.
All right. I'm about to be skewer squashed by a flightless candy pterodactyl. Luckily, though, with cosmic binding, I can permanently bind anything to anything. If those things are not already touching, they are immediately and irresistibly drawn together. So I look at one of the roller coasters that had just hit the bottom of its biggest slide, so it's got lots of momentum away from me, and I cosmically bind the the torso of the flying bird to the roller coaster, and it snaps the bird sideways before it crushes me.
Nice.
Digging it.
Those are some handy things to have as a mechanic. I tell you what.
Yes. Who needs super glue?
Bind the tool to your hand so you don't lose it every 5 seconds. I could use that.
Yeah.
I mean, when friction's gone, what else are you gonna do?
Sure. I didn't even
I
put
thought
that together.
about
That's great.
I thought about binding the air back to it, but then no.
So, minutes ago, when I was punching on my tablet, I saw that the Piranha Lake. Actually, I saw the Smoothie Lake. Sorry, I'm not this evil. I saw that the Smoothie Lake emptied into like a hazmat decontamination chamber, and I thought, that's really dangerous. That's going to hurt some park guests. And I had way too much control over park systems, and so I redirected the outlet to the splash pad uh, on my tablet. So I swim into the vortex, knowing that I don't have much air left, and hope that I will come out the other side into the splash pad.
Amazing.
Very
All
economical.
right, quick recap.
So I have reduced the size of this little girl who was shooting rocket launchers or rockets, fireworks at me, and now I'm showing her to my guests.
Turned a bone into a bonk stick, and I'm about to enter combat.
I found the discarded rule or handbook for the old animatronics and read the deactivation phrase to prevent them from exploding.
I used cosmic binding to attach the bird to a roller coaster going away from me, and it flew that way.
I just realized I'm gonna die.
That's not how you start the recap. That's
You can't do that.
Because the peril was like the drowning, and I'm just like, not that. I'm not dealing with that at all.
Maybe the splash pad is so much closer to the piranha enclosure, so you have less time in the water. It's okay. It'll work out.
We'll see.
Anyway, the Smoothie Lake is draining. It's a safety measure to protect the endangered species from contaminants. But I was able to precognate, that's a word, that this was going to be a huge danger to park guests, and I redirected the outlet to the splash pad, and now I'm swimming into the whirlpool.
All right, 3, 2, 1, drop them. All
I guess everyone's pulling for the other centaur.
Fine.
right,
What?
so
My money's on the animatronic one. I'm sorry.
since this is the last round of the game, this is how wrap up goes. Going from most votes to least, we're each going to describe how our character has inevitably met an untimely end. We couldn't keep this up forever. Everybody except Nicholas, surprisingly, with the he didn't think he was going to win, but he's got the least votes. So Nicholas, you won't be describing your death. You'll be describing how the overall story ends, however you like.
Fitting for
So,
the park manager.
yeah, it's perfect. So Zach, you're up first.
Right. I have won the Razzie of this game. The other centaur didn't think that I was gonna replace him, but I kind of did. He impaled me with it, and now I am the merry-go-round centaur, and he's found peace, I guess, in his freedom from this park.
That's awesome.
Galloped off into the sunset, looking not nearly
right.
as good.
So as the bird is cosmically bound to the roller coaster off in the distance, it swoops by me, and unfortunately, it had already gotten so close to the ground that as it's pulled towards the roller coaster, it sweeps right across the ground at about waist level, and one of its candy wings catches me right in the stomach, and without any friction to slow my initial speed, I am launched like a bottle rocket out of the area with it into the roller coaster, which as everybody knows, roller coasters are not safe places. So me and Bird are jammed all up in that and do not make it.
Nice. Well, when it comes to my character, I found the discarded handbook, but it wasn't discarded because they got rid of the animatronics. It was actually a very old iteration of the handbook, and they got rid of it because they changed the deactivation code, so it was no longer relevant. And so, without the correct deactivation code, I just stand there and I yell "free admission," and then everyone around me explodes. So it didn't work out for me.
So you're saying you did not learn your lesson about the explosions?
Yeah, I mean, well, I assumed these ones wouldn't stop, but I still just stood there. Yep.
Chris.
So I do successfully navigate the flush tunnel to the splash pad. And what I didn't anticipate is that a section of the pipe lost the concept of friction somehow. And and the water with me in it is accelerating at an unprecedented pace, and I am ejected through past the splash pad into the atmosphere. And
So Nicholas, again, you don't have to, your character does not have to die as part of this. How does the overall story end?
Well,
record
so
profits.
so as I'm holding this like miniature girl, queen, princess, whatever, I start hearing explosions and I start seeing bodies flying and I start seeing all of these things that means there's no way that I am going to salvage the situation at the park today. And what that means is that I get to go on my way out of the park. I get to use my Neuralink to let them know that I quit. And to announce that, I flip a switch that causes the entire park to start shooting fireworks in a grand crescendo of light. And I just walk out. And
Beautiful.
that's it. Everybody at the park dies and I leave. It's great.
Wow.
Such a beautiful, like
That's what I was given. I
He's
mean,
all choked up. He can't-
realistically, I'm like on my way out of the park and my heart fails because of the device that was put in. Like, there's no quitting before your contract is up, right? But
All the likes from the fireworks, it overstimulated your heart.
Oh, there you
yeah,
go.
yeah. I get to my car, I take one last look, and just die. Just drop dead.
Well, I can't say that it's a happy ending, but
Fitting, I think, though.
yeah, nice little bow tie on the story there.
Yeah, put
I
a
like
horror
it.
theme on it. Call it the Fall of Candyland or something.
Yeah. Candy
So
Park.
Oh, you're right. You're
yeah,
right.
can't
That
can't
would
be can't.
Yeah.
don't want to get us sued.
Although there were definitely some high-powered shoots involved that
Definitely.
launched at least one of us into space.
I said the atmosphere, which could be 4 feet. I mean, but
Got him.
but I enough to kill me. Enough to kill me.
So, yeah, that's the game. Even as our world seems to be becoming more and more perilous, at least you don't have to yet deal with an animatronic uprising. But on the downside, you also don't get to make really sweet old robot friends as a child. So it's give and take. We're in it together. Be kind. Try to keep peril fictional.